Oh, did you check everything out?
Yeah, it's working.
It's working?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, okay, so see how it has like things like this and shit. I mean, it's good. When you're in here, this tab over here is for tomorrow. So you just press go around. It's ready. So I'll sit here today.
Fine, yeah, absolutely.
Does it hear what we're saying here?
Like a little bit. The mic's pointing that way, so
okay.
not as much.
Because I'm concerned with this kid sitting next to
Yeah, it's working.
So if you don't mind filling in down in the center here.
Yeah. You walk down. You're your name. Too bad. I think Google, bro. Too much when you imagine center, bro, honestly.
Who we missed?
Why did they hire you, bro? Oh, you're like next level special, bro. You're like special stratus.
Holy shit, dude! What a setup.
Zero
Zero. You're gonna get a break for it.
No, I'll go check. Okay, guys.
We're gonna pop out to Ron, take pictures. That'd be tough. You get some new ladies.
Thank you.
We're just giving them one more check. Check.
We're really creative. Well, it's only for the computer. It doesn't work for anything else. Yeah, they're gonna run the bank.
Don't be mad at me. You're so good.
No, please.
We could do it like rest of the week. Yo, thanks.
All right, we're gonna get started. We're gonna up it a little bit, our time. So, welcome everyone to the 2024 UC Imagine Fest. I commend you for coming out on a Friday night and agreeing to spend your time learning an innovation process, coming up with creative ideas, and being willing to learn how to put them out there. This program was developed and adapted based on a program called Startup Weekend. It's a program that is offered worldwide. So people across many countries have participated in something very much like this. Usually it runs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've adapted it down to a much shorter period of time, but it still offers the same type of learning, the process that the full Startup Weekend offers. So to give you a little bit of what you can expect, we're going to get started here tonight. We have a keynote speaker. I'd like to welcome Jim Bompensa.
You got it right.
Okay. Jim is an entrepreneur. He is a parent of one of our students here at Ursinus, and he's agreed to share some insights with you on his entrepreneurial experience to kind of spark your inspiration and your imagination. From there, we'll talk a little bit about the process, and then we're going to ask you to pitch a 90-second pitch. Just pitch an idea. What's the problem you're interested in? How would you solve it? why is it different, and why do you think it can make money, or why can it draw donations? And from there, we'll organize into teams, and then you can work on teams, or in your team, developing your idea. Tomorrow, we have a lot of external support expertise coming in to help you develop your ideas and to bring them forward. And then early afternoon, you'll be pitching them to a panel of outside judges. Okay, so that's sort of how the process will flow. You'll have a lot of support. We have You Imagine ambassadors to support you, myself, and again, our alumni and outside experts are dedicating and volunteering their time to come in and help you learn the innovation process. So with that being said, I'd like to turn the floor over to Jim. So please welcome Jim.
This is the best spot for me to stay.
Yeah, wherever. You can move around.
I might have to move at some point, but.
Yeah, move around.
Thank you all. I'm really excited to be here today. I'm excited about everything you have here. I think this You Imagine program is really an amazing program that you have. And to be honest with you, when my daughter Mia decided to come here, it was one of the things that I was most excited about for her, because I just feel like the opportunities and the resources that you have here are really going to be amazing for you as you move forward in your future. Are most of you looking forward to being entrepreneurs, or is that some of you? So everybody here is looking to go down that path. That's a great thing. And what you have here will really provide you support and experience as you move forward. In keeping with the theme of the You Imagine Fest, which I was told is outdoor adventures, is that correct? I'd like to talk to you about what's common with outdoor adventures and the adventure of entrepreneurship. Both are adventures that require courage, resilience, and willingness to explore the unknown. Life itself is an adventure, and my journey as an entrepreneur has taken me down a winding path filled with challenges, successes, and opportunities to pursue my passions. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my adventure and my journey in entrepreneurship and what an adventure and a journey for you might be. So first, I want to talk to you a little bit about finding joy in entrepreneurship. I've been fortunate enough to transform my passions into businesses that I love. Owning a gym and owning a martial arts school are two things that I've always wanted to do in my life. And they're really great because they've allowed me the opportunity to foster community, meet a lot of people, and there are places where people come together and they learn and they inspire each other. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of that. Additionally, my journey, and you'll find this as an entrepreneur, your journey takes a lot of winding paths. My journey has led me into construction, and building new homes and renovating old homes has given me the opportunity to build homes in the community that I live in, and we've kept relationships with a lot of those people that we've built houses with. So I've seen those families grow, and we've developed a lot of friendships that way. As a landlord, we have some properties that we rent. I've rented to single families. We have vacation rental properties as well. So I've seen people enjoy our properties and just things that we share with people. Also, as an author, I've written a youth sports book, and I've developed a personal training certification. Through those things, I've seen a lot of athletes grow, and I've had the good fortune to see some athletes who've been drafted in professional sports, MLB, NHL, had an athlete who won a world championship as a boxer. And those are just things that as you go down the path of entrepreneurship, once in a while, you get lucky and you find those things that really make it worth it for you. And it really is a cool thing. But it's also important to know that not every path that you take may be successful. You may be lucky and they may all be successful, but more often than not, they won't be. And as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to try a lot of different things. I've tried my hand at promotional advertising, which seems way off the path for me, but when you get pens and they have business names on them or shirts, I've been down that path. I've had a company where we made pre-made packaged meals, meal replacement bars. I've had digital fitness programs, a lot of different things that didn't work out, and it definitely happens. So sometimes it's not the idea, whether or not it's good or bad, that makes it work. It's about a lot of other factors like timing, your own availability. And I always joke that I was Peloton before Peloton because I had the digital programs and I was partnered with a fitness company that had the equipment. And, we just didn't get it rolling at the right time and it just didn't work. With my meal replacement bars, before the gluten-free craze and before everybody was trying to order their meals from home, we were doing that, but we didn't stick with it long enough to get it out there. And if we had stuck with it long enough, maybe it would have hit the ground running. But I don't look at that as a failure because if I had stuck with that, maybe I wouldn't have had my martial arts school, or maybe I wouldn't have built houses, so your path is going to wind. There's going to be a lot of different ways that you're going to go. So it's always important to remember that an ending isn't always the end, right? So sometimes you just have to change your path along that adventure. One of the greatest aspects of my journey in entrepreneurship is a community aspect that I've built along the way. Another thing that I talk about a lot is my favorite part about my main business, which is my fitness center, is just the people that I've met along the way. I've met people from a lot of different walks of life, and you have to be open to that, meeting people, always learning. No matter how much you think you know in your industry, you always can learn from other people who cross your path in your adventure from other industries. A lot of times, they just may give you some insight into what might make your journey better, but many times they may take you on another path that could lead you into an entire another career. I have a few friends that I could talk to you about. My one friend's name was John. He was just a gentleman that I met at a gym that I used to manage. New York Sports Club, Philadelphia Sports Club. I used to work for that company when they were doing well. I think they're doing well anymore. But he was just I think he worked for Pepsi at the time. But he was renovating houses on the side, and I was talking with him, and I said, hey, I'd love to do that. And before you know it, we buy a house together. We rip it apart down to the studs. And I had never hammered a nail before in my life. And we go through and we renovate the house and we sell it and we do well with it. And that's my first foray into construction. And it was random, it just came to be. And then, down the road, we're building $1 million houses, so you have to be open to those different paths along your journey. Another one of those, I'm just going to share two with you because I'll probably run out of time quickly. I can stand up here and talk forever about entrepreneurship. But another important meeting was from a mutual friend who brought together myself and my friend Kurt, who is another martial arts enthusiast. And, we just became friends and kept that relationship. And before you know it, we opened a martial arts school, and now 15 years down the road, and we have a great program going. He's actually retired, and I'm still running the school. So you have to be open to those relationships. Each of those relationships played a unique role in my journey. But not every relationship is going to be great. I have had a business partner that I opened a large gym with, a big 15,000 square foot gym, had a pool, and I loved it. I loved having that gym. But along the way, I found that our visions weren't the same. And then I had to leave. And I'm someone that kind of has a no-quit attitude, right? I just don't want to leave it and don't want to quit. But sometimes you have to change that path. And it was important for me in that rough time to realize that wasn't a failure. That was just refocusing. So at that point, I refocused on my other gym. And since then, we've expanded it 4 times and, added the martial arts school. And none of that would have happened if I would have stayed in that other gym, because it just would not have made it, because our visions were different, So every time something doesn't work out the way you want it to, doesn't mean it's an end. A great example of that, and this is kind of a two-sided example, it actually relates back to my favorite boxer, and my wife is here with me, and she's gonna enjoy this story, but my wife's family is Filipino, so we're big fans of Manny Pacquiao. Has anybody ever heard of Manny Pacquiao? He's one of the best boxer ever. So he was flying high at the time. He was an 8 division world champion. If you don't know much about boxing, there's weight classes, right? So he went from, I think it was 119 all the way up to 150, winning titles all the way along the way. And we used to have big parties at our house. Everybody would come over and watch these fights and loved it. So he's against a boxer at the time named Timothy Bradley. And he's fighting, winning the fight clearly to someone watching TV and someone who's a fan. So we were astounded when he didn't get the decision. 3 judges, if you don't knock the person out, they judge who wins. And he lost the fight. So he lost his title. Everybody's saying he shouldn't fight, he's done, it's over for him. So does he quit? No, he continues on. He decides his next fight to be against his big rival, Juan Manuel Marquez. He's a tough fighter. So he goes and fights him. He's winning this fight, clearly winning this fight. And he makes a mistake, which you might do in your career. He's a left-handed boxer, so he's got his right hand forward, and he steps in the jab, but it was lazy. He leans in. And Marquez stepped to the side and hit him right in his face. He fell flat forward. It looked like he died. Unfortunately, he did. But again, everybody wanted him to quit, and he didn't, and he kept going. And he started 3, 4, 5 fights. He gets back to the title fight, and who do you think that title fight is with? Timothy Bradley. So he's back against the same person that beat him that first time, and he wins the title. So never quit attitude, even if you might have to change your direction and your path. Now, another reason why I like him a lot is a quote. All of the people in your life are part of who you are. So they're all valid. They could be, people who have helped you, people who have hurt you, people who have given you good advice or bad advice. They're all important, and they all become part of who you are. As you move forward as an entrepreneur, you need to seize opportunities. You got to stay vigilant. Opportunities are everywhere. They're waiting for you to take advantage of them. A couple quick examples there. Tom Brady, you all know Tom Brady, drafted 199th in the NFL draft. He was relegated to be the backup for Drew Bledsoe for his entire career. Drew Bledsoe gets hurt. If he doesn't get hurt, you never hear of Tom Brady. He comes and wins Super Bowl, becomes the best quarterback of all time. More recent one, Brock Purdy, last draft pick in the NFL. Does anybody know what they call the last draft pick in the NFL?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant, right? So because he's not meant to do anything. Third string quarterback, waits his turn, 2 quarterbacks in front of him get hurt, comes, take his team to the Super Bowl. So you have to believe in yourself, and you have to be available when those opportunities arise. Entrepreneurship embodies a classic American dream. You work hard to build your dream, yet we as entrepreneurs risk becoming a dying breed. Government regulations, taxes, employment laws, and just flat out uncertainty make this a very challenging journey that not a lot will take. So I think it would be irresponsible for me to just talk about the great parts of entrepreneurship. You need to make sure that it's for you. It can be a very rewarding journey, but it's rarely easy, and it's almost never turnkey. There's trade-offs. One, there's no pension in entrepreneurship unless you develop a huge company and you can put pensions in there. So you have to determine that on your own. You may make a lot more money than someone who works for a state government agency, but when they retire, they're going to get paid for the rest of their life, and they're going to get health benefits. You don't do that. You have to plan that. Keep that in mind. A steady paycheck. If you want to step into a 6-figure job right out of college, don't expect that with entrepreneurship. Most advisors are going to tell you, give yourself 2 years before you decide to even make a dime or take a paycheck. And that's after you put your initial investment in there. So again, you want to keep that in mind. The just do my job mentality, I hear that a lot from a lot of people. That's not part of my job description. It's not that way as an entrepreneur. I've cleaned toilets, scraped stuff off decks, shoveled snow. I had to handle dangerous people that have come into my fitness center who were drunk. A lot of things that you have to do because it comes back to you as the entrepreneur and the owner and the one who really cares. You can't walk out the door and just let these things go wrong. A predictable work week, you give that up. You're not 9 to 5, you're always on. I always have my phone with me. I can text all the time, whether I'm at dinner, wherever it is. When something goes wrong, you're the go-to guy. But that's just the drawbacks. What do we gain? We have the freedom to make our own rules. When I'm not dealing with emergencies, I have the freedom to take off whenever I see fit. I make my own quotas, not some arbitrary number that some stiff in the office is telling me how many personal training appointments I need to sell this month. I decide how much I want to make. And I understand because I have my finger on the pulse of the business. Unlimited potential, you're going to go as hard as you're willing to work, and as determined as you're willing to be. And if you get to a certain height and you need to rest there for a little bit, you can rest there. Nobody's pushing you at that moment, to do that. I was able to take a rest in my business at certain points because I wanted to go to my daughter's games or whatever. Those are things that you can do as an entrepreneur. The independence from traditional constraints. If you want to change the direction of your business, you don't have to run it up the ladder and let somebody give you the okay to do it. You decide. And ultimately, you have the ability to shape your own lives and you go along your passions. Listen, all work's hard work. You do something you love. I love fitness, but I hate sometimes getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I have people coming in to train with me at 5 o'clock in the morning. But I want to see those people succeed. And for me, at the end of the day, it's worth it. Some days it really sucks, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. And it's my passion. I'm building my passions, not somebody else's passion project. So the freedom of entrepreneurship allows you to create a life where you never miss the moments that you don't want to miss. When my daughter came to school, I always look back on the fact that with my business that I developed around a certain way, I never missed a game. I never missed a practice. I coached all of our teams. I went to every show. I went to every award ceremony. And listen, your parents, when you went away, they suffered, right? But for me, I know that I was able to be there and see everything, and I didn't miss anything. So that, for me, is what has made my journey worth it the most. And while that journey's been rewarding and really worth it, I've had to navigate challenges despite the freedom. The reality is there's no safety net. You have to make it work without any fallback plan. Resilience is the key. I'm going to give you another quick story. Does anybody know who Dan Jansen is? Doubt it. So Dan Jansen was a speed skater in the 80s. And he was supposed to win 2 gold medals. Okay, so clearly the favorite to win 2 gold medals. I think it was in 1988 Olympics. His sister dies in the night before he's supposed to compete, and he goes out there. He's the fan favorite. Everybody wants to see him win. He falls, so he's done. He doesn't win the gold medal, but he has another event, so he's not going to give up. He's going to go back for that other event. And what does he do? He falls again. So he leaves that Olympics without even finishing a race. Does he give up? Does he quit? He's resilient. Keeps putting in the work. 4 more years later, because the Olympics every 4 years, comes back. He's dedicated his whole life to this. 4 years later, he comes back, trying to win that gold medal. Comes in 4th place. No medal. What does he do? Does he quit then? He comes back again. 12 years of Olympics now, he comes back. Not favored to win, and he finally wins the gold medal. Resilience. He's kept with it all that time. And that's what it is with entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter, you have to stay right on that same path. Or you might have to take some winding ways, but you have to stay resilient. So he has always been someone that I've looked back on what he did, and I've talked to people about. Entrepreneurship demands that we embrace failure as a part of the journey, but we also can't get complacent when things are good. I've always said that the minute you're happy with where you are and you're happy with the status quo is the minute your business is going to start to decline. You're always on, you always need to strive, and there's always going to be someone there trying to take your place. One quote, one more time. One of my other favorite boxers, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, another 80s guy. He was one of the champions back in the 80s, and that was the time when the champions fought the champions. They didn't avoid each other, so they didn't lose their belt. And he would win, and everybody wanted to know, Marvelous, how do you keep winning? Why is it that you win? And what his take on it was, these other champions made it, and they don't put in that work. And his quote was, it's hard to get up and train at 5 a.m. when you're sleeping on satin sheets, right? So no matter how far you go, there's always somebody there trying to take your place and always trying to get you. So the minute you're status quo, potential that you're going to go back down. So entrepreneurship is a roller coaster of emotions. Highs and lows are part of the ride. To succeed, you have to be comfortable with a level of stress that might break most people. I went through COVID. I went through 2 floods, a house that wouldn't sell. You go through all that stuff. Well, you stay vigilant, you move your journey, and you'll get there. It's not for the faint-hearted, but I still think it's one of the most rewarding journeys and experiences that you can undertake. And for me, there's no other way. You're never going to get the ability to control everything that works or doesn't. There's factors beyond your influence, but you can control some things. Manage your debt wisely, nurture relationships, and I'm going to recommend a book for you, Millionaire Next Door. It's a great book. I read it a long time ago. It talks about not living outside of your means and the fact that a lot of the millionaires in your neighborhood aren't the people you think they are. A lot of those people are driving cars that they got off lease. I always buy a car. I usually always get my car like after that first 3-year lease because let somebody else take the depreciation, right? Those are the things. Stay within your means. Read that book if you really want to be an entrepreneur. It's great. The importance of health. Any journey you go on, any adventure you go on, you have to prepare for it. You have to be fit. You have to be nourished. So stay fit, exercise. If any of you have questions on that, feel free to reach out. I don't know if you have my contact information, but feel free to text, call, email, wherever you want. I'm happy to help you on that. Give yourself options. When I advise any of my young clients, students, I emphasize to them the importance of options in life, and you're all doing it. You're here getting your degree. Some people will tell you, put everything in it, keep going, but don't put your eggs in one basket. Get a good degree or trade. Degree or trade. It doesn't have to be a degree. But you guys are here. Get your degree. Don't leave. Acquire skills. Be multidimensional. You never know when that winding path may leave you in a ditch, and you need to support yourself. So get those usable skills. Take strategic risks. Start small was one of the best things I ever did with my gym. I started, believe it or not, $7,000 used equipment in a small place, and that's how we built. We started our construction business in our town, building houses that we knew if we didn't sell, we could move into. So a desirable area, strategic risks. For our rental properties, we started with one, found out that we could rent it. If we didn't rent it, we'd be able to afford it. It wouldn't put us underground. Once that one rented, we go for more. Take steps. You don't have to jump all in at once. For me, strategic planning without reckless abandon was the way to go. And finally, choose your right life partner. If you guys choose to do that, have a life partner, have a spouse, have someone that goes the journey with you. Nothing about business partner, although that's important too, but life partner. When I started my business, my wife had a job at the time, and that gives you a little bit of a safety net. That made it a little bit easier for me, to be honest with you. When my business was successful, she started her own business, so we both have our own businesses, but we also work together on other ventures, whether it's construction or real estate. So the correct life partner is an important thing. So the steps, finally, that you need for your adventure, if you want to embark on that adventure, 1, prepare your body, plan your nourishment, be healthy, just like you would do if you're going out on an adventure. You're not going to go out there hungry. You're not going to go out there weak. Get your finances in check. Establish your solid budgeting practices. Some of you may have to take loans, some of you don't. But if you take loans, understand the ramifications of that. Get a job if you need to. Pay it off as fast as you can. Don't let that become something that's going to burden you. If you choose a life partner, choose wisely. I did. Long time. We've been together forever. Determine if the adventure is right for you. Choose that right venture. Are the risks worth the rewards? Provide yourself some options. Get moving and stay disciplined. That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to help you any way I can.
Okay,
Thank you.
Jim.
Yeah.
Well, that was a great inspirational start. A lot of great advice. It resonated with me as an entrepreneur prior to my life here. I did realize, as Jim was talking, I didn't introduce myself. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Maureen Cumpstone. I am the director of U Imagine Center here at Ursinus College. I spent all of my career up until recently running my own company. Similar situations to Jim. And it's never a straight path. But here you are. And so we'll get on with the festivities. All right, so, and Jim had a lot of good quotes, but here's one. Each of us has the power to be the change we want to see in the world, making the world a better place. And that's what we're here to do. This year is one of my favorites. You guys should all know this guy, Steve Jobs, right? This is my favorite quote of all time, and it goes like this. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up of people that are no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. I truly believe that. As an educator here now at Ursinus College, I believe we all have control. I believe that we can do good. I believe that we each can use the gifts that we were given and the skills that we have and the skills that we're building to create good change and change that other people can benefit from. So my favorite quote of all time. So our theme today, the great outdoors for the weekend, valuable cutting edge ideas that enhance the outdoor experience and promote adventure in the world around us. As some of you know, I'm an outdoor swimmer, so I had to pick this great outdoors. And I'm going to share with you a couple of ideas to kick it off. So we had some great inspiration from Jim and his fitness stories and his fitness journey. And now we're going to take it outside. So here's an example of, this is a mobile app, okay? So I'm going to give you some examples of things that you might want to think about as inspiration. So this is called Surfline. It is an app that I use. I'm in Seattle City, and it's a surfing app. And it tells you where in the ocean, what the conditions are of the ocean. Now, I am an ocean swimmer, so I have to reverse this. So if it's a good surfing weather, if it's good surf, I got to reverse it. If it's good surf, it's not good swim weather, okay? Because the waves are too big. So this is a surf app, and the way that I use the app is that I say, all right, 1 to 2 feet, it's probably not the greatest for surfing, it's poor for surfing, but it might be good for swimming. All right, so one of the things that I might do if I were here and participating today is, okay, this is one of the top mobile apps that people use for outdoor ocean events, right? But it doesn't solve my needs. So maybe I'm going to create something that can meet the needs of swimmers and can tell me and the people that I swim with whether conditions are good, because it takes, we swim in groups for safety and to get everybody together in a certain spot at a certain time and then find out you can't go because the conditions are bad is not a fun thing. So one example, okay, REI, everybody knows REI, right? Major company, produces high quality outdoor gear for the outdoor enthusiast. Problem they were solving is producing high quality gear, things that hold up under rigorous and outdoor experiences, quality stuff that you can count on when you're outside. The third is Outward Bound, which is a experiential outdoor program to build all kinds of skills, leadership skills, collaborative skills, teamwork. So there are 3 examples of problems and solutions that are currently in existence as inspiration. So that's what we're looking for you to do. We're looking for you to identify some problems that you've had and come up with some ideas to capture, some ideas for solutions that other people, including yourself, would find valuable. So it's time to build a better now. Let's work together to find creative solutions for problems. And let's work towards developing innovative solutions. So I'm happy that you're here and willing to do that with us tonight. All right, so oftentimes you start with what matters to you. We heard from Jim, what mattered to him. And then more importantly, what will I do? Okay, because ideas are great. We call them entrepreneur wannabes. All right, we've got lots of ideas. But unless you take some action, and take small steps to start moving that idea from concept to reality, you're not going to move forward. So we're not looking for entrepreneurial thought and as well as action. So here's the deal. I want you to understand the problem you're trying to solve. We're going to ask you to define your solution and how it works. Who's it for? Is there a market out there? Did you talk to anybody? See if it's a good idea. Why is your solution better than what currently exists? Does it create a market or social value? Are people willing to give you money for it in exchange for your service? Are they willing to give you a grant or donation if it's a social good? What small steps can you take if you were to implement this tomorrow, over the next couple of weeks, to bring it into existence? Take that big idea down and make it into a step that you can move forward with. How much are you going to progress on moving your idea forward, and how well can you articulate it to the world around you? So that's what we're looking to do. So with that, we're going to get into team pitches. we'll take a minute to get organized about that. I think Jim and his wife probably have to go to Mia's show, so we're gonna take a minute to allow you to get up and do that. And the next step in the process is think about your idea. Let me see. It's a 40-second pitch. So I'm gonna ask you to come up right up front. Short intro. What's the problem you are solving and for whom? What's your solution? Why is it unique? Who do you need to help you if you want to have a team member participate with you? Okay. All right, so give it a minute to think, and we'll get started with the pitches in about a minute or two. Okay, Max is going to capture them, and we'll just take it one at a time. So,